Welcome to the Cyclical CEO podcast, where we redefine what it means to scale a business without sacrificing your soul. I'm Camille Lalande, your guide to stepping into your CEO throne with systems, strategy, and sovereignty. If you're an ambitious woman who's built a successful business but feels trapped in the grind, this podcast is for you. Here we talk about scaling in flow, building a business that fuels your heart, and reclaiming the queen energy you were meant to embody. Let's break free from burnout and fall back in love with your business. Ready? Let's dive in. Episode number 6, Time isn't your problem, identity is. And I just want to start with saying that I had recorded the full episode of this podcast and it got erased because my phone didn't have enough space. And so I had to start all over again, here and now. And I feel like it's very ironic with this topic of time, of not having enough time. I spent probably a good 40 minutes setting up and preparing and recording that first version of the episode, and it got completely erased. So I believe and I trust that there is a reason why, and I am applying the teachings that you will receive in today's episode of Time Isn't Your Problem and Identity Is. And so the version of you who creates more in less time already exists. And she is just waiting for you to remember her. This episode is a timeline rupture. It's a reality check and a reclamation. You think that you're unorganized or that you're not really good at being productive, and that because maybe you're too much in your feminine energy and that you need to work and fix your time management skills. But what you don't know and what you actually need is to shift your self-concept, to shift the concept of your inner identity. And your self-concept is all about becoming the woman who no longer operates from fear, survival, productivity shame, lack, scarcity, but rather from presence, from devotion and energetic alignment. And so I want to start by saying, and maybe you won't believe me when I say this, and that you believe that this is true, time is not your enemy. Time can expand or contract based on who you are being. You have power to bend time. Time is an illusion. It does not exist. It is an energy. It is a frequency. As everything that composes this universe, it is not linear as you have been taught to believe. And I have a question for you to start this episode number 6. And I'm just going to lock my door 1 second because I tend to get interrupted. Okay, it is locked. We're good. It was enough to have this podcast erased once. Have you ever seen a queen rushing through her day, rushing through her tasks, rushing through her to-dos and her responsibility? Well, I haven't, okay? I have never seen that. And I certainly hope that this doesn't happen, because a queen is responsible of leading a people, of leading a whole kingdom of people that count on her for her good decision-making skills and for her ability to being grounded and sane in her decision-making and in the actions that she will take that will have an impact on the people. And so ask yourself that, if you've ever seen that and if that's how you perceive her, because this will be one of the most important things to start shifting in your mindset. If a queen doesn't do that, why are you doing that? That is an excellent question to ask yourself. And so if you're still trying to optimize your time, to optimize your calendar, while staying and remaining in that survival energy, it means that you're building systems and a life physically and tangibly for a woman that you don't want to be and that you no longer are and that you're trying to leave behind while going to that new identity that you're creating for yourself that matches that new life you're creating for yourself. And so today's episode really isn't about to-do lists or tools, tangible tools, time management tools, boring matrices and whatnot. It's all about identity death and energetic rebirth. Let's dive in. I wanted to start off with a little bit of storytelling of what I have been going through and how that has taught me so that I can share that with you and that you can use bits and pieces of what you hear and what you like and implement it in your life. And so there was a moment in my life where I thought that my problem was that I didn't have enough time and that I maybe had poor abilities to manage my time. And this is why I was not able to get everything that I dreamt of to happen and manifest in my reality because I don't have time. I don't have enough time. Nah. Just other people have more time than me. I'm busy. Recording a podcast? No time for that. Posting every day on social media? No time for that. Cooking myself a homemade healthy meal every day? No time for that. But in truth, it was the version of me making those decisions who was out of alignment. It was not the lack of time. And when I fully stepped into my queen archetype, I realized that obviously the queen has time for a podcast. Obviously the queen has time to post once a day on social media for her business and her purpose and to share the work that she loves to do and that changes women's lives. And obviously the queen has the time to make a healthy meal for herself that will nourish her body and allow her to be regulated and feeling safe and grounded and supported in her mission, obviously. And so there was a huge mindset shift that needs to happen first. And when I was operating from fear, from lack, from survival, from scarcity, I filled my days with busy work to feel worthy, to feel like I was doing something, accomplishing things, and that I needed to do more in order to be worthy of receiving. And that came from a mother wound of my childhood where I had to constantly prove myself to feel the love from my mother. And the truth is that you don't even need to understand where it's coming from and why. You don't even need to go there. You simply need to realize that there is that pattern and that belief in order to shift and move past it. And when I started to become the woman who trusts herself, time started to bend for me and everything started to recalibrate. All of a sudden, like if it was magic, and some call it magic, but I believe that it's when your inner dialogue changes, the script starts changing, and when the script starts to finish and to leave room for the new script to start happening, you start seeing the tangible results in your reality. And that started happening to me. And all of a sudden, new clients who wanted to pay me more for my services appeared in my life, who were not challenging my prices. Old out of alignment clients who costed me a lot more, especially in my time because I was charging them little for a lot of work, started to leave on their own. And so everything slowly calibrated to the new identity I was creating for myself. And so the core teaching that I want you to remember in today's episode number 6 is that time is energetic and not linear. And the root of I don't have time usually means and translates into I don't feel safe having lots of time and spaciousness in my life. So let's break it down in 3 main pillars. Pillar number 1, time scarcity is identity scarcity. So you're not actually overwhelmed, lacking time, and being too busy. You're simply in a feedback loop of proving yourself, feeling like you need to earn everything instead of knowing that you deserve it anyways, and chasing opportunities and what you desire instead of attracting it. If you resonate with that and you feel like that looks like you and what you're currently doing, everything that's going to follow is going to be even more so important for you. The woman who has no time is addicted to being needed. It's really important to catch yourself if you feel like this is you and that this is what you're doing. Because when you feel like you have to be needed in order to feel worthy, it means that you depend on others for your success, for your happiness, for your self-love, and everything that goes around the life that you dream of. And this does not work. So this is the number one thing that you have to destroy in your belief system and reframe. Time freedom begins when you stop outsourcing your worth to output, just like I said, into your outer world. Your sense of worth should be sourced from within and only within. You and God. Let me ask you a question. Can you make peace with not being busy anymore? And can you make peace with saying no to things you don't want to do or that don't align with the life you're creating for yourself and where you're going without justifying by you being too busy for that? And I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to think if that ever happened to you and to start exercising yourself to do this. It did happen to me in my life in the past that I've asked some women that were very confident in themselves and in their knowing their worth, and ask them to do things together and hang out, and they would say no to me. And at first it was hurtful, but then I realized also that with time, I was able to recognize that these women radiated and exuded even more energy of receiving and of self-worth by being able to say no with grace and kindness without justifying that they were too busy for me, simply that they couldn't. And I remember at that time feeling that energy and aura of abundance, of simply knowing their worth. And so this is where you want to get yourself to, where you want to bring yourself in your life. It's in that energy of knowing that you are enough and you are worthy, and it is safe to say no and to not being busy without having to justify anything. If your schedule is empty, so be it. You don't have to explain why. Pillar number 2, timeline mastery is emotional regulation and energetic hygiene. Timeline mastery, the mastery of time, of your timeline, of your life, lies in your ability to regulate emotionally and your energetic hygiene of how you manage your energy in your life. Do you waste it? Do you give it to everyone? Do you take care of it? Do you give it love, rest, and space? Only you knows. Time opens up when you are regulated. You move cleaner, sharper, clearer, faster. Time is an illusion. When you slow down, when you sit, when you breathe, you oversee. All of a sudden, time expands. Remember when you were a kid and your days seemed so long and boring and time just seemed to never end and you just wished for your parents to come and pick you up at daycare. And now that you're a busy adult, you wish time could slow down. You never have time. You want to read a book. You don't have time. You never have time. And that is because you are constantly doing and you are not being. And so this is going to be your homework this week if you don't already do this, to take little moments throughout the day. Set yourself alarms if you have to every now and then to simply sit and breathe. And you need 1 minute, 1 to 3 minutes to the max, I promise. And you don't even need to set timers if it's too much for you at the beginning, but whenever you catch yourself spiraling and going into your overwhelm in your head and thinking, I don't have enough time, I'm busy, when you can no longer hear your voice inside your head, this is a signal of your body to tell you that you are no longer connected. You are disconnected. And you need to pause until you're able to slowly start hearing your voice again. And that's when you know you're back into alignment. And when you do that, interestingly enough, chaos starts to shrink and it seems all cute and inoffensive when your frequency is anchored. You look at a situation of crisis, something that felt overwhelming and the end of the world, and you look at it from above, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, how simple it was, and why wasn't I able to see the solutions when I was in it? Because you were not in alignment, because you were in the noise. You were not in the frequency of the queen. So, you see, you really don't need more hours. You need less inner noise. Go to the spa, lock your phone up for a few hours, sit by the water, and force yourself to stay still until you break through the discomfort and finally start hearing yourself again. It might take time, it might be super uncomfortable, and that's what you want to guide yourself through. Guide yourself through the discomfort until it becomes comfortable and safe to hear yourself again and to be in that place of stillness. Pillar number 3, your identity sets the pace of your reality. There's a mosquito in my room. I got stung so many times today. I'm like, no, this is not happening again. Your identity sets the pace of your reality. A woman who sees herself as overwhelmed, who calls herself overwhelmed all the time, who refers to herself as the busy one, will inevitably fill her calendar with chaos to confirm it, because we always are seeking and are trying as human beings with a rational mind and brain to make sense of our inner world in our outer world. Otherwise, there is dissonance. And so you absolutely have to stop calling yourself overwhelmed and referring to yourself as the busy woman who never has time. Because believe me, you will find ways to make it happen and to make it your reality, to avoid dissonance in your mind. A woman who sees herself as a vessel of genius creates results in half the time because her presence alone recalibrates the room. Time bends, not because of what you schedule, but because of what you expect from yourself in each moment. And when you become unavailable for smallness, time stops asking you to prove your worth. And so it's an exercise. It's like going to the gym. The more you'll do it, the more you'll see proof of it. You're not going to see proof of your exercises at the gym if you go once, if you go twice. You're going to see proof of it if you keep going over time. And so now let's take a moment to embody. Embody the things that we've been intellectualizing in the past minutes. Now is your invitation to be in the now with me. If your space and the timing allows you to, take a seat, grounded, and take a deep breath, closing your eyes. Drop into your body and ask yourself the following questions. What version of you is currently scheduling your days? Is it the busy version of you? Is it the queen? You know better than me. What does she believe she has to prove to herself, to the world? What version of you is ready to take the reins and the throne back in her life? There's a version of you that is sitting in the back seat and she's craving to regain control. What version of you is that? What version of you have you neglected and left in the passenger seat? What does she no longer need to do in her daily life that she currently is doing? What does she no longer need to tolerate? And let this be a funeral for the old timeline. And as I said earlier, the script will run out. Let's draw the line today of where this version of you ends, of the things that were a vibrational alignment to that version that is no longer a vibrational alignment to the version of you you are becoming in order to live the life of your dreams. And let this be a funeral for the old timeline. And you will see the script running out in the upcoming days, weeks, and months. And so this is exactly the work that we do inside the Alchemy Lab. Not just time shifts, but timeline shifts. We don't optimize old patterns, we recode your reality. The Alchemy Lab is where you descend into the shadows, into the discomfort, into the things that no longer serve you, that are hidden in the dead angle, and you don't really see them on a daily basis, but you feel the weight that you're carrying. And we go and we look at it straight in the eye, and we choose to sit in that discomfort out of love for yourself and the life that you dream of living. Because the truth is that you won't just wake up one day and be the person you've always dreamt to be. It doesn't happen like that. You don't just wake up from a dream and are the new person. You have to build her brick by brick by also removing old bricks that are not part of the vision and that cannot sustain the magnitude of the life that you're creating. And so if you want to join us in the lab, it is time. The link is in the description of this podcast, episode number 6. DM me on Instagram at Consciousness Guidance. What timeline are you collapsing today? I want to know. Share with me. Come chat with me. What truth are you choosing instead? And so on the next episode, if I don't change my mind, because sometimes I do, I just go with the flow and I share with you what sparks the most joy with me and what I feel will help you most. But if everything goes according to plan, next episode should be the script is still playing out. And so even after a massive inner shift, your outer reality might lag. And that doesn't mean that you're off and that something with you is off and that you're not doing the right thing. But it means that you're mid-transmutation. So let's talk about holding the frequency before the proof arrives in front of your eyes in your 3D reality, and before you can tangibly hold it in your hands and have the proof of it. See you on the next one.